Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 3743 AN. Today's date is October 1st, 2025, and the title of the episode is 8 billion Green New Scam Canceled. Trump calls Powell an obstructionist. Boom. Now, I don't know if you know this, but gold has gone mainstream. You're seeing it everywhere. Prices are climbing. Every day, more and more Americans are catching on to the power of gold. But how do you actually take advantage of it? How do you invest in a way that's safe, simple, and built for the long run? That's where Noble Gold Investments come in. Noble Gold specialists are trained to help investors like you go from confused to confident, from wondering what's next to knowing exactly what to do. Whether you're looking to roll over an old 401k into a gold IRA, or you want physical coins and bars delivered right to your home, Noble Gold makes the process simple, safe, and stress-free. You'll get step-by-step guidance, transparent pricing, and U.S.-based service from teams that handle over $2.5 billion in precious metal transactions. With Noble Gold Investments, protecting and growing your wealth isn't just their job, it's their commitment. Visit x22gold.com today to claim your free wealth protection kit. That is x22gold.com. Noble Gold is helping you build a stronger future, or just click the link in the description. And remember, past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions. Let's get right into the economic collapse financial news. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, the private West Central Bank, the World Economic Forum. You could see at this point in time, they are now struggling. And we could see out in the EU is now experiencing inflation. Remember, they've been telling us that the economy was under control, everything was fine. But I do believe that we're seeing inflation now probably for another reason. Because you have to remember, the EU, Canada, they were all lowering their rates, which is very, very interesting, because I think what they were trying to do in the very, very beginning, before Trump actually established and was creating the parallel economic system, they were going to bring the economy down by raising the rates, then dropping the rates very, very quickly, like they did back in 2006, where they raised the rates and they hit a tipping point, and then they started to drop the rates very, very quickly. And all of a sudden, the economic system just pretty much turned over, and everyone found out, wait a minute, if we go back to 2007, that's when the recession started. They never expected Trump to build the parallel economic system so quickly, and they thought they would have enough time to have the inflation where they could raise the rates and then start lowering the rates, because Trump forced them to do this and the economy would fail. And once again, if you noticed, Jerome Powell was continually waiting and waiting and waiting for the inflation. It never happened. Now, all of a sudden, we have the EU, who has been lowering their rates. Now, all of a sudden, they're experiencing inflation, where they're going to probably change course, and they're probably going to raise rates, which is very, very interesting, which most likely will lead back here to the United States, where Powell might say, you know something, we see things picking up around the world. We're very worried about this, about the U.S. seeing inflation, and we might have to raise rates. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if this is the argument that he's going to try to make, or the argument of, listen, we're seeing it around the world. We better hold steady. We're not going to lower the rates at this point in time. And I do believe this is something that they're probably going to try to push right now. But since the shutdown and everything that people are seeing right now, we could see that Trump and the Patriots, they have a lot of leverage. And we can see Russ Vought right now. He has basically canceled $8 billion in the Green New Deal. So as of right now, we can see that he has canceled projects in California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Vermont, and Washington. Basically, all these different states, of course, blue states, they were pushing the Green New scam, and he pretty much shut it down, and they are not being funded whatsoever, and everything is coming to a screeching halt. And you know, the deep state players, they're pretty angry, pissed off about all of this, because they want to continue with this, but now it's all shut down. And you have to remember, the shutdown is not going to work well with the deep state, with the Ds, because, again, they're the ones who are pushing this. And Trump, he has all the leverage. And we know that Russ Vought, he's prepared and ready to remove, or I should say fire, those people in government. Now, of course, he can do this, I think, when we hit 61 days of a shutdown, then you're going to see a lot of people being fired. Now, once again, is it going to last that long? Maybe, maybe not. It all depends on when the D's fold. Right now, they're holding steady. They're voting against the clean spending bill and everything else. So we'll have to see how this all plays out. But I do believe they're going to try to hold steady as long as they possibly can. Remember, going back to 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, there was a shutdown. And of course, this was during Trump's administration. That one lasted 35 days. So this is going to be very, very interesting. But when we look at the economic system right now, we know that all the job numbers are completely and utterly fake. And ADP right now, they're saying that their payrolls unexpectedly cratered to negative 32,000, the worst since March of 2023, and well below all estimates. You have to remember, Joe Biden, the Federal Reserve, they actually were covering up the recession that they created. And when Trump came into office, yes, we were in a recession. And I do believe what's going to happen as we look back in time, we're going to start to realize and understand, as soon as they announce it, that we were in a recession during the Biden administration. And Trump inherited the recession. Now, remember, all the statistical numbers, they were fake. So everything that they were telling us during the Biden administration was an illusion that they made up. So if he didn't create all these jobs, how was the economy strong? Think about it for a second. And if he caused fuel prices to go up and we saw major inflation, how was the Federal Reserve lowering the rates? Because once again, we were in a recession and they were covering it up, and they were hoping as they handed it off to Trump, Trump would flounder and we would go into a deep depression. They never expected Trump to build his tariff system so quickly. They never expected Trump to make deals around the world. They never expected the countries to go along with this. And I'm talking about the Federal Reserve and the deep state players, they decided that, you know something, this is going way too quickly. We cannot lower the rates. Let's just hold them steady right now. We don't have enough ammunition to raise the rates, so let's just keep it status quo. And this way, it will hurt the automobile manufacturing. It will hurt construction. It will hurt the housing sales. Businesses will not be able to expand. People will struggle because their credit card rates are very, very high. Let's do this right now because this is our only alternative. And think about it. The shutdown, what is that going to do? Well, they're not going to be able to put out a report, which is very, very interesting. So we're not even going to get the report. But the other thing that's really interesting is that the Supreme Court, they have now ruled that Lisa Cook can keep her job until January 2026 when they decide, hey, we'll take another look at this. We'll hear the case. So why would they wait until January of 2026? Is something else going to happen between now and then? Is there going to be some type of an event? Think about it for a second. Why would they put it off? Something doesn't make sense, because I do believe this is an open and shut case. You have a form and you decided to lie on the form and sign it, and pretty much that's it. I mean, if any form that you sign, if you go in and let's say you're purchasing a weapon and you lie in the form, well, you signed it, you lied. Oh, like Hunter Biden. Oh, let's think about this. If you go into a bank and you want to get a loan and you lie on the form and they catch you, well, you lied. You signed it. It's black and white. It's that simple. Mike Davis responds to this and says the following. The Supreme Court blinked. Lisa Cook is one of the 7 governors of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. Among other tasks, the Fed conducts the nation's monetary policy, promotes financial system stability, and supervises and regulates financial institutions. The Federal Reserve is committed to upholding the highest ethical principles to strengthen public confidence in the impartiality of its decision-making processes. There is clear evidence Lisa Cook committed mortgage fraud when she lied about her principal residence to secure a lower interest rate. Even if Lisa Cook fraudulently secured this mortgage before her current Fed appointment, she is still benefiting from the lower interest rate each month. Did she pay off the mortgage before she started? President Trump fired her for cause under the relevant statute. Democrat activist lower court judges reportedly reinstated her instead of simply paying them to go away. You can force the president of the United States to rehire people he doesn't want working for him. The Supreme Court refused to overrule them, instead punting the decision until next year. The Supreme Court must decide this. Does ongoing mortgage fraud by a Fed governor create cause to fire her under the relevant statute? If not, does the President of the United States have the Article 2 power under the U.S. Constitution to fire at will any executive branch officer or employee, including a Fed governor? Or did our founders unintentionally create another branch of government in the U.S. Constitution? Again, this is laughably easy. Maybe the Supreme Court will muster up the courage to follow the law after January. Apparently, October is not a good time, which means, are they waiting for something? Is something going to happen from now until January? This is very, very interesting. Are they hoping that the economy falls apart? Is there going to be an event? Something seems like is going to happen between now and then, because why would you put it off for 3 months? Something doesn't make sense, and it seems that they're doing this on purpose. Now, I don't know if you know this, but gold has gone mainstream. You're seeing it everywhere. Prices are climbing. Every day, more and more Americans are catching on to the power of gold. But how do you actually take advantage of it? How do you invest in a way that's safe, simple, and built for the long run? That's where Noble Gold Investments come in. Noble Gold specialists are trained to help investors like you go from confused to confident, from wondering what's next to knowing exactly what to do. Whether you're looking to roll over an old 401k into a gold IRA, or you want physical coins and bars delivered right to your home, Noble Gold makes the process simple, safe, and stress-free. You'll get step-by-step guidance, transparent pricing, and U.S.-based service from teams that handle over $2.5 billion in precious metal transactions. With Noble Gold Investments, protecting and growing your wealth isn't just their job, it's their commitment. Visit x22gold.com today to claim your free wealth protection kit. That is x22gold.com. Noble Gold is helping you build a stronger future, or just click the link in the description. And remember, past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions. Now, the other thing that's very interesting, and Eric Doherty put this out, Joy Reid warns Americans of dangerous MAGA plans. They want to remove the income tax. They want to have no regulations. They want to keep all their money. Think about this for a second. She's actually saying everything that we've been saying for a very long time. We want to get rid of the Federal Reserve. But just take a listen to what she says here.
You go back before the 20th century, there were no income taxes, there were no regulations on business. You could earn as much money as you want, leave 100% of it to your children with no taxes. Right. That's the world they want back. And to get it back, they need society to change. They need people to be less modern. They need people to want fewer things. Is that if you go back before the 20th century?
Now, I think we should be thanking her, because this is waking up a lot of people. People are listening to this and they're saying, wait a minute, they want to get rid of income tax? They want us to keep our hard-earned money? They don't want regulations? I mean, this is exactly what we've been talking about for a very long time. The only reason we have all of these things is because the Federal Reserve was put into place. And do you really want to take 20, 25%, 30%, almost 40% of your income and pay it to a loan sharking system? I think everyone would be on board with keeping all of their hard-earned money. I know I would. I can't believe anyone would say, you know something? I love giving away 30%, 40%, 50%. You know what? If I could pay more taxes, that's what I would do. Actually, I'm going to just make up more taxes of my own. If these people are so fond of paying taxes, why don't they just give half away? I mean, without the government requesting it, just give half. You want to fund the government. 50%. Go ahead and do it. It's amazing how no one is doing that. That's very interesting. But I think this is going to wake up a lot of people, and a lot of people are going to start to realize, well, wait a minute, this sounds like a really good thing. And this is, I do believe, what Trump is trying to do right now. He's trying to remove the income tax, remove the regulations, allow the people to make their money and keep it, and allow their children to pay no taxes in the future, and hand down your wealth to your children. Is this what the founding fathers fought a war for? Absolutely. This is what they did. And then we had the deep state, the central bankers, come in and they infiltrated our entire country. And they basically enslaved us. If she's talking about slavery, she just mentioned it. You are a slave to the Federal Reserve, to their system. So when they talk about slavery, this is what it is. And Trump, he's pointing to Jerome Powell once again. And he put this out on Truth and he said, I really believe that Jerome Too Late Powell is an obstructionist. And he capitalized this. So an obstructionist is a person who deliberately, that's the key word, deliberately delays, hinders, or prevents progress, especially in official, legislative, or decision-making processes. So I do believe Trump is saying that Powell right now, he's doing this on purpose. It's not because of the economy. It's not because of inflation. It's not because of employment. He's doing this because he doesn't want Trump's system to succeed. Now, it's not just him himself. He's taking instruction from the top, and he's going to continue to do this. Now, once again, I do believe what they're doing right now is they're making the case of why they're not going to lower the rates anymore. Now, the first go around, the quarter point, I do believe they were trapped in what Trump has done. Now, Trump might trap them again, but at this point in time, with the EU seeing inflation, and then you're going to start to see Canada, and you see the UK has a lot of inflation right now, we're going to say, well, wait a minute, we can't be lowering the rates anymore. We're going to have to maybe hold them steady, which will give Powell ammunition to say, listen, other countries are holding it steady. Maybe we should just hold off right now, because he continually says we're watching inflation very carefully. And once again, there is no inflation. Their favorite metric for gauging inflation, it's not gone up to 4 or 5%. It's holding steady where it normally is. And also you have to remember, and we said this many, many times before, this 2%, 2.5% inflation, that's just a ridiculous number that the Fed made up. Inflation is always occurring, and it can never, ever end. Because, again, this is what the central bank system does. You can actually slow it down, but all the inflation that has happened is here to stay unless we get rid of the Federal Reserve, because we have all this currency out in circulation, which dilutes the currency. So I do believe in the end, Trump's entire mission is to do what? Get rid of the Federal Reserve. And yes, like Joy Reid says, we're going to get rid of income tax. We're going to get rid of the regulations. He's going to bring back jobs, and you're going to be able to keep your hard-earned money. That's the whole point of this. And also, once you shut off the spigots, guess what happens to the Ds, the deep state players, all the corrupt people in government? You can't fund them. You just can't borrow and launder the money. So all that comes to an end. And you can see every step of the way, what is Trump doing? He's bringing down the trade deficit. Basically, in the end, Trump is going to basically equalize everything. But he did put this out on Truth. He said trade deficit plummets 42.9% in second quarter under Trump's reciprocal tariffs. And yes, in the end, you're going to see he's going to try to balance everything as best he possibly can. But to take it to the next step, he's going to have to go after, which he's already doing, go after the Federal Reserve. Now, I do believe the Federal Reserve and those people that are controlling the Federal Reserve, they're going to fight back with everything that they have because, again, they don't want to lose this control. And I think every step of the way, they're going to try to push back as hard as they possibly can to try to not cut the rates. And they're going to probably use every excuse in the books. Now, Trump, on the other hand, he's going to keep pushing Powell over and over and over. And I do believe he has other tricks up his sleeves. And since he called him an obstructionist, saying that he's doing this on purpose, he might have cause right now. And I do believe that he might get 2 for 1 here, because maybe he'll be able to get rid of Cook and Powell at the same exact time. Now, the other thing that's very interesting is that the Treasury Department is preparing to formally relax a proposed rule to tax unrealized Bitcoin gains under CAMT. So CAMT, enacted under the 2022 Inflation Reduction Act, imposes a 15% minimum tax on the adjusted financial statement income of large corporations, those with average annual adjusted book income over $1 billion. The original proposal would have included unrealized gains from digital assets like Bitcoin in this calculation, potentially taxing paper profits that hadn't been sold while exempting unrealized gains on traditional stocks. Corporations can now exclude unrealized appreciation in digital assets like Bitcoin holdings from CAMT calculations, treating them similarly to stock gains. This aligns crypto taxation more closely with conventional assets and prevents a mismatch that could have triggered unexpected tax bills. The new rules provide temporary relief while final regulations are developed, giving companies time to adjust. What this means for people: this development primarily benefits corporations and institutional investors holding large Bitcoin or crypto positions, but has a ripple effect for everyday people involved in the crypto space. So that is very, very interesting. So you could see what the deep state players were trying to do. They were trying to keep businesses, people away from cryptocurrency. But once again, you can see that this is not going to fly. Now, think about this. They were trying to control Bitcoin and other crypto coins by doing this. See, gold, on the other hand, they had other ways of controlling it because they had more and more time to control gold. Plus, they set up a paper market to shut down gold from rising too fast. As you can see, they're losing a little bit of control over that. But again, you could see with Bitcoin and you could see with gold, they're doing the same exact thing. Yes, in the past, they were able to control gold quite a bit. Bitcoin is a little bit newer. It was developed, or it came out in 2008, 2009. It was developed way before that. But they didn't have time to control Bitcoin. This is why they were putting all these things in place. And now this is why they're being removed. And I do believe in the end, just like with Bitcoin, it's all going to be removed from gold, all the paper markets and everything like that. And we're going to see the real price of gold in the future. Once the manipulation is ripped away and all of this is gone that they're trying to do with Bitcoin and gold and silver and the rest, you're going to see the true value of these alternative currencies. Because once again, this is going to show you the true picture of what the fiat currency is actually worth. Because again, Bitcoin, gold, silver, they are a hedge against a devaluing fiat system. And they've always been, actually gold and silver have always been this. Now Bitcoin is this. So I do believe in the future, and I don't think it's that far off. I think right now you're already seeing with Bitcoin, you're already starting to see gold really start to make incredible moves. Silver is actually making incredible moves. And I think as gold gets close to $4,000 an ounce, I think more and more people are going to be waking up, and it's going to be absolutely amazing. Because once people start to see gold going to 4,000 to 5,000 to 6,000 to 7,000, that's when people start to say, what is going on here? When you see silver, remember, going back in time, silver was like $15 an ounce, $18 an ounce back in 2011, 2012, 2013. Now, where is it? $40 plus? So I do believe this is going to go even higher. And I do believe this is what's going to really wake up the people in this country. So let's see how this all plays out. This is going to be very, very interesting. And we could see that the Fed, because of the shutdown, they're already making excuses of why they can't cut the rate because it's lacking crucial data to make that decision. So once again, they're going to try to use all of this to keep the rates where they are and not make the cut. But again, in the end, this is not going to work. And I do believe Trump and the Patriots, they have other cards up their sleeves. And eventually, these individuals will be removed because, again, the name of the game is leverage. Trump needs to gain leverage over the Federal Reserve. And you have to remember the central bankers, when they came into existence, they made sure that they were protected. They had those corrupt individuals in Congress to protect them. But I believe their protections are being removed right now. And as we get closer and closer to the midterms and we win the midterms, I think all protections will be completely and utterly gone. And Trump will be able to move very, very quickly in basically going after the Federal Reserve. And I think that time is quickly approaching. And you can see every step of the way, Trump is going to make additional moves. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.